Back to another TA video. I'll be going over some names I'm looking at for this upcoming week and days. And let's get right into it. So first off, for Qs, it's the same thing, guys. Price is at the top of the range. But we did form on the daily was a nice bullish engulfing candle. This daily candle engulfed this bearish candle on the daily, which is a great sign for bulls. But let's just keep in mind that price is still in this chop box. So really, it's just the same game plan for me, to be honest, is wait until price breaks above 630. And just keep in mind that we are still in a bullish trend on the daily time frame. We're still forming these higher lows. So we shouldn't get too bearish. Honestly, last night was such an ugly breakdown. And I thought that was going to be the start of a correction, my honest opinion. But now, obviously, that didn't happen. And now we're back above the top of the range. And we're just going to move on from that. It's the same thing. There's nothing to really pay attention to, because if you just trade this mess, it will get chopped up. And again, I'll be bearish below 613 and below 613. I do know that 610 was a previous level that we did bottom overnight. So definitely mark that down at 610. But below 613, we see 607, 600, and really my initial target below 613, if we do see a correction, is 588, which was these previous lows right here on the daily. Okay, so we're going to move on to DIA. I've mentioned this name. You know what? Let me look at SPY real quick. Oh, yeah. See, this is all messed up. I don't know what happened, but we're not going to do SPY today. Again, if you guys want to look back at my levels above, 690 is that support, and your target's at 700 level on the daily. But we're gonna move on to DIA. So I did mention this name on last video. I said just keep an eye on that level, that 48 level, and if we break below 48, we could definitely see it move back down to 485. And we obviously did see that on the daily, and you see that nice reversal candle, which obviously we did see that price reverse on the daily today. But if you look here, all I'm looking at is if DIA could break above 496 roughly to see a bigger breakout to roughly 505 or even 510. We've been consolidating for quite some time now. But again, you did break out. You did hold the support at 48 today. And if we look here, we did open around that range, and now we are seeing that breakout happen. Okay, now we're looking. So again, to make it real simple, all I want to see for DIA is break above 497, 496, a break above this range to see a bigger breakout. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Tesla, the name that I am looking at. So I was wrong about this. Not really wrong. All I said was wait until you break above 450 to see a breakout. Obviously, that didn't happen. But now, if you look here on the daily time frame, we have a case of a potential double bottom, but obviously you got to be careful here too, because price isn't so strong. But if we look here at that 420 level, I'm going to remove these drawings from here. It's obvious a clear big demand level here. If we see 420 here acting as support, 420 here acting as resistance, and now we see 420 over here as obvious as support, and now we formed a possible indecisive candle which could act as a reversal candle here on the daily time frame. But again, so all I'm saying is just keep an eye on Tesla around this 420 range. Again, if you do see a potential buyer step up here, keep an eye on if we do retest that 440 level here on the daily time frame. Again, 440 is a great level here. It's been this consolidation for quite some time, but really, like I've mentioned, I believe above 450 is your real level to play for the breakout, because again, you do have volume here, but again, we did melt down here with Tesla, and yeah, I've been playing that 450 level for a long time, and I'm just gonna keep sticking with it. Okay, so again, just keep in mind that we are at support for Tesla. If you break below 420, you could see a correction down to 400 here on the daily time frame, or revisit these lows here on the daily. But again, if buyers step up here, since we're at that demand level, like I've mentioned in the past, is we could see a potential reversal for Tesla, because we have our not really left leg, but really we're trying to potentially bottom here on the daily. Let me look at the volume to see if we did. It's kind of weak. Not the best volume here. So just definitely keep an eye on Tesla. We're at that critical support. But again, if we see a daily candle close below 420, it could signal potential more short-term pain on the daily. And also keep in mind that price is still bearish on the daily. But again, it's just more of a level to pay attention to since price is at demand. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next name, which is Meta. Okay, if you guys look at my previous videos, again, we did tag that level that I mentioned, that 740 level. And again, what I'm really looking at for Meta is to find a possible reversal candle on the daily time frame. So maybe we retest the ADMA, or I really do not want to see a Meta. Maybe I really just don't want to see that. Maybe a retest back down to the 21 EMA around like 675. But really, all I want to see on the daily or even that 4 hour is if at least respect the ADMA to potentially head back up higher to 740 and potentially break out here and retest higher to roughly $800 or yeah. But again, if we look here on the weekly time frame, we do have that EMA's cross. If we look back at what happened here on the previous times, we saw that EMA's cross. So we are seeing that EMA's cross here. We saw that here, which obviously we saw Meta run up. If we look back here, oh my gosh, yeah. Last time that happened, the one before that, is you see that crazy run, and we haven't seen that weekly EMA's cross since then. Obviously, right here, but you get the picture, right? So we are seeing that reverse. I mean, the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA crossing over. So definitely keep an eye on that. And again, price is still bullish in the weekly time frame. So really, all I'm just saying to keep it short is I'm going to be planning on buying the dip on Meta. But again, I did mention wait for that consolidation or possible dip. But really, I kind of want to see Meta really hold here, like even though we're kind of floating on thin air right now. Oh, I didn't see that. So maybe watch for that 700, 706 level. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention to that previous demand levels, but definitely keep an eye around here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just definitely keep an eye on Meta. Mark down your trend lines here. But again, bottom line, what I'm just calling out for is maybe look for a retest of the EMAs or 21 to see continuation higher. Again, your support level, your critical level for me is at 675 level. Okay. And we're going to move on to the next name, which is Amazon, which is reporting earnings on Wednesday, I believe. So, again, hopefully we don't see a crazy breakout, but I am going to be looking to play the upside on this name. I am not going to be playing the earnings. All I'm saying is I'm going to be keeping an eye on this name after earnings. So, really, I just hope that we don't see a crazy breakout or crazy gap up. Again, moving on to the technical analysis, all I want to see Amazon do is I love Amazon above this previous high, all-time high here around that 243 level. And so all I'm looking at, right, is if we could see Amazon hold above 242, 243 to eventually head up higher to 260 or 259, which was the previous all-time high, which is right here. Okay, and we're gonna go over the sectors in a bit, but just keep in mind about this Amazon setup. Okay, so just keep in mind that this is a potential breakout happening. So you do have a possible U-shaped recovery here. Formed a nice reversal candle here on the daily, but again, you are retesting that previous resistance and support level here on the daily time frame. So all I'm saying is if hold above 243 for Amazon, and I do think you could see 260, 259 on the daily. Maybe pay attention to this level around 250. But again, my main target is 259, 260 on the daily time frame. Okay, but we're gonna examine that level to see what you guys. To really see what I'm really looking at is that 242, 243. Again, we look here, rejection here, sold off. So rejection here, sold off, support here. Again, rejection here, and now we're finding support here. So definitely, I'm just keeping an eye. I'm not saying I'm going to be playing this earnings. I do not gamble on earnings, but just also, like I said, just keep an eye on Amazon. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on Amazon above 243. Okay, so on to the next name is Apple. I kind of maybe might have called the bottom here. Again, you could look back at my videos that Apple was at this critical level, and now we're seeing that breakout happen. I said look to see get rejection here at the 21 EMA, and let's see if we find support around 253, and we did see that breakout happen today. Okay, we're just gonna move on. I mean, actually, that's not true. So we're not gonna move on. Again, so we broke above the 265 level, which I marked down in the previous. Why? Because this acted as support. So all I'm seeing, or all I'm going to be waiting on, is it retest back to this previous range at 280 for Amazon. I mean, sorry, for Apple. So that is my play. So maybe we consolidate here for Apple and form a flag here, and respect that 265 level, which was a prior support level here on the daily time frame. But again, no indication of any reversal on the daily. That is a strong daily candle. So I'm anticipating a possible run up to 280 on the daily time frame. And yeah, guys, trend is still very bullish on the weekly. And yeah, we're going to move on to that. I want to get into the sectors, but I really want to get into Goldman Sachs real quick. It's going to be real quick. Again, I mentioned this name a lot of times last week. Is just keep an eye on if Goldman Sachs re-enters this consolidation or this chop zone. So all I'm going to see on the daily is if we could break above 260, and 260, in my opinion, opens the doors to $1,000. But again, we marked this. I mean, we got rejected here. So definitely keep an eye above 260. We could see move back up to 9. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Break above 960 to see it move to 285, 283. But really, I've mentioned this multiple times. There is a gamma wall or call wall at $1,000. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on Goldman Sachs. You are at this consolidation. So if you guys want, what I'm going to be doing is I did buy the bottom of the range today and played it. But what I'm really looking at is if we could break above 260 to see it move to 283, 285. But really, my main target is at that $1,000 level. And if we look here, I know this candle really hasn't obviously formed yet, but you are kind of seeing a potential flag here or a really tight zone here for Goldman Sachs. Okay, so just keep an eye on Goldman Sachs. And again, we looked over at JP Morgan last week and said look for this potential bottom that where if buyers step up. We are getting that rejection here on the daily time from that 21 EMA. But the good thing is we're starting to see that flying out on the 21, and we're starting to see that the 80 EMA curl back up on the daily. Okay, so again, your support levels for JP Morgan is 302 and that 296 level. But I did say if you break above that 302, we could potentially see that reversal back up to 316. And obviously, if you break above 316, you could definitely see a move back up to 332 on the daily time frame. Okay, so now it's going to be a sector talk, and it's going to be the last part of the video, is XLF. Again, we kind of called a potential falling wedge. We saw that play out, and now we're retesting this previous resistance level here at $54. Okay, so I'm not saying, obviously trend is still pretty bearish on this sector, but just definitely keep an eye on it for a potential a rejection here. I'm not saying we're going to go right back down. Obviously, if we break below 53.43, I'm definitely going to be a lot more cautious on this sector. But again, we are approaching that resistance level here at that 54 level, 54.17. And this was a prior resistance here on the daily time frame. And it did act as support in the past. So definitely keep an eye on this resistance, and we are approaching that 21, or we did manage to close above it, but still just keep in mind we could see a potential rejection or consolidation these next upcoming days in this sector. Okay, just keep in mind Goldman Sachs is looking great in a way. We're still in that consolidation, and JP Morgan, which is one of the main holdings for XLF. And we're gonna go into it real quick. Is Berkshire. I went over this. One of my members on the Discord did say if I could chart it. So obviously I did chart this trend line. We circled it. I circled it here, and now we're obviously seeing that potential or at least trying for a reversal here on the daily time frame. But again, your resistance here for Berkshire is 495, 500. But if I see Berkshire, stick its head out above 500, I'll definitely play the move for a potential breakout back up to at least 500 or 530 on the daily time frame. Again, that was quick. So again, just keep in mind, I'm still bullish. I'm not really bullish, but just keep an eye on this sector because we are approaching that resistance. Trend here on the weekly time frame is still pretty bullish, and even the monthly time frame. But yeah, just keep in mind that we are approaching that resistance level on this sector. So we're gonna move on to XLC, communication services, or whatever you guys want to call it. Again, I've mentioned this quite a bit. The importance of breaking above all-time highs and holding that level. So right now we are seeing that retest playing out perfectly here on the on the daily. Again, all I'm going to say is if we can hold this level, I expect at least more continuation on this sector. But again, what I like to say for me is what helps me a lot is I don't really like to play names once you break back below the all-time highs, because then you'll just be back in this consolidation mess. So again, if we dip back down, I'm really just gonna hold in my hands because I'd rather play the breakout back above 119, which might sound ridiculous, but it's just the way I play it. But all I'm saying is keep an eye on the sector since we are kind of retesting that level, because we could see maybe a run up back up higher. Okay, and yeah, that is pretty much it for XLC. We're gonna move on to XLK here on the daily time frame. Again, we're at this previous, consolidation. I would wait until a break above 147. But again, you're in this consolidation. But I've been saying is, keep in mind that if we do break below that 144 level, which we've retested multiple times, is we could definitely see a breakdown. But again, just definitely keep an eye on the sector because price is still in this consolidation box. Okay, the last one I'll be going over is XLP. No, you know what? That is not it. That is not the one I want. Is XLY. Okay, so I believe the top. I did mention Tesla and Amazon, and the top holdings in the sector is Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot, McDonald's, and these other crappy stocks that I don't want to really go over. But really, the main ones is Amazon and Tesla. We went over the possible bottom of Tesla, and we went over the possible breakout of Amazon. Okay, so this sector is kind of forming a potential channel here on the 4-hour. So all I'm really going to be looking or paying attention to for the sector is if we could break above that 123 level, because we could definitely see this channel play out here on the daily, and we could definitely see this sector really break out here in the future. And again, I would wait until above 123.55, or I'm not gonna be too aggressive again. I would just wait. But if you guys want to see a break above this trend line to see a move back up to 123.55, but really I want to get in above 123.55 to see a bigger breakout to 128.5. And yeah, like I said, I'm not really looking to the downside. Obviously, the downside is going to happen if Amazon shits the bed or Tesla starts to break down. Okay. But yeah, that is it for today's video. So main names I'm really looking at is Amazon, Tesla, again, Tesla, Meta, Apple, the basics. And again, Meta's one of the top holdings in XLC. So if this name starts to reverse back up, we could definitely see buyers step up on this sector and continued up higher. Okay, that is it. Hope you guys like this video. Drop a like in the comment, and yeah, thank you guys.